far below the turquoise shimmer of the Atlantic, where sunlight fades into an endless black abyss, a silent monster slumbers. North of Puerto Rico, the seafloor plummets into a jagged chasm known as the Puerto Rico Trench, the deepest point in the entire Atlantic Ocean, plunging to a staggering 8,376 meters, or more than 5 miles deep. It's a realm where the Earth literally folds under its own immense weight, home to bizarre deep-sea creatures adapted to crushing pressures that would pulverize anything from the surface world. Two colossal tectonic plates collide here, the North American and the Caribbean, grinding, twisting, and locking in a slow-motion battle that's raged for millions of years. Day by day, the tension mounts, and when that pent-up fury finally erupts, it won't whisper, it'll roar. Scientists warn this hidden abyss could unleash a megaquake, potent enough to shake the Caribbean to its core, redraw coastlines in an instant, and hurl towering walls of water toward vulnerable shores within minutes. But the heart-wrenching truth? It's happened before. Centuries passed, the ground convulsed, the sea turned savage, towns were erased, ships flipped like toys, and survivors whispered of waves that struck from nowhere. Yet, after over 2 centuries of deceptive calm, the trench stays locked tight, its last major outburst fading into history. What chaos awaits when that eerie silence shatters once more? Beneath the Caribbean's serene blue facade, the Earth wages a brutal war on itself. Along the Puerto Rico Trench, the North American plate dives under the Caribbean plate, but not in a smooth, orderly descent. It's warped, crooked, and ferocious. One edge sinks while both scrape laterally, in what's called oblique subduction, a lethal mix that scientists say amplifies the destruction. This grinding locks the plates, hoarding unimaginable energy like a coiled serpent ready to strike. Every tiny shift that doesn't break free adds to the strain, building like pressure in a tightly wound spring. And this spring hasn't uncoiled in centuries. Satellites capture those subtle creeps across the region, mere fractions of an inch annually. It sounds trivial, but in the grand theater of geology, it's a ticking bomb on borrowed time. Deeper sensors echo the tale, tension surging from miles under the seafloor. Unlike typical subduction zones that just dip downward, this one rips sideways too, meaning a break could fracture along multiple lines, magnifying the quake and blasting shockwaves through the depths. The last time such stress peaked, Puerto Rico's shores were forever altered. So, the question gripping researchers isn't if it'll snap. It's how catastrophically wide the rupture will spread when it does. Long before high-tech gadgets like satellites and seismographs pierced the mysteries, Puerto Rico's people felt the trench's wrath firsthand, weaving it into their cultural fabric of resilience and folklore. In 1787, the earth trembled beneath the island on May 2nd, cracking walls and ringing bells in San Juan's colonial heart. No one grasped the horror until the sea recoiled from the shore like a predator drawing breath. Then it lunged back, a tsunami crashing inland, ripping boats from anchors and flooding coasts. Historians peg that quake at up to 8.25 magnitude, a nightmare in an era without modern warnings, echoing perhaps ancient Taino indigenous legends of angry gods, shaking the land to remind mortals of nature's power. 80 years on, in 1867, twin quakes hammered the Virgin Islands, unleashing a wall of water that ravaged harbors and villages. Ships were flung ashore, families scrambled to higher ground as the ocean descended into madness, claiming lives and leaving scars on communities already blending Spanish, African, and indigenous heritages. And in 1918, a 7.2 magnitude tremor struck Puerto Rico's west, near Aguadilla on October 11th, followed by an ominous hush, then a surge over 20 feet tall. Neighborhoods vanished in the flood, over 100 souls lost in moments. Yet survivors rebuilt with a stoic spirit that's become a hallmark of Puerto Rican identity, turning tragedy into tales of communal strength passed down through generations. For ages, this trench has stirred without mercy, reshaping shores, redrawing maps, and slipping back into quiet. But the pattern chills the bone. Each colossal quake follows decades of peace. We're now in the longest lull on record, since before electricity lit the night. When it awakens next, our wired, fragile world might shatter in ways our ancestors could never imagine. For decades, the Puerto Rico Trench feigned dormancy. But quiet isn't peace. It's a brewing storm. In recent years, that facade has fractured. A 6.4 quake north of Puerto Rico in 2014 served as a stark wake-up, proving the beast still breathed. Then, in late 2019, a swarm of tremors besieged the island, hundreds in weeks. On January 7, 2020, a 6.4 struck pre-dawn, crumbling homes, blacking out power plants, and plunging everything into shadow. Aftershocks forced folks to camp outdoors, hearts pounding with every rumble, fostering a social bond of shared vigilance that echoed the island's history of collective recovery after disasters like Hurricane Maria. The quakes lingered into the years ahead, a relentless pulse from below. In 2024, a 5.6 tremor rippled across Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, testing nerves but sparing lives. By mid-2025, the shakes intensified, two 5.7 quakes mere weeks apart, zapping power in swaths of the island. In August, another jolt hit the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico's east coast. No deaths, but a glaring omen. Seismologists declare the trench's stress at a tipping point, plates gripped tighter than ever. Each minor quake that fizzles without release just stockpiles more fury. Silent and unseen. That's the terror. The big one won't tiptoe in. It'll explode. Envision it. Just past 9 a.m. on Puerto Rico's north coast, sun gleaming, sea mirror smooth. Then a sinister hiss from the waves. In a flash, the ground jerks sideways. Buildings heave and splinter, roads fracture like brittle bones, power lines whip and snap. The turmoil escalates. 3 minutes of pandemonium as the crust bucks and rips. A seafloor chunk, rivaling Puerto Rico's size, heaves meters upward, shoving billions of tons of water into frenzy. That's when the sea becomes a killer. Minutes later, waves taller than palms barrel toward San Juan, Loíza, and the Virgin Islands. No chance to flee. Boats catapult inland. Cars tumble in the torrent. Whole communities erased by the surge. Experts predict an 8.0 or fiercer rupture could spawn a tsunami hitting nations from the Dominican Republic to the Bahamas, even grazing Florida in under an hour. In the vast ocean, it's invisible. Near land, a rampaging giant. Grids, ports, airports, all collapse instantly. The island's rugged hills might unleash landslides, blocking roads and stranding villages. Comms black out. It's not mere disaster. It's a cross-border humanitarian heartbreak, igniting without a whisper of forewarning. Despite our grasp on the Puerto Rico Trench's secrets, the burning question endures. Are we prepared? Partly yes, but gaps loom large. Puerto Rico boasts one of the Caribbean's top seismic networks, with ocean floor sensors beaming live data to labs in Mayagüez and San Juan. Satellites spot millimeter shifts, and tsunami buoys vigil across the Atlantic for swelling waves. Yet, readiness transcends tech. It's about people, woven into the social tapestry of education and community drills. Many locals, especially younger generations, haven't endured a true monster quake, and evacuation paths overgrow while sirens risk failing in blackouts. Programs like Tsunami Ready, spearheaded by the Puerto Rico Seismic Network, push flood maps, school orientations, and evacuation apps, drawing on cultural resilience to protect even ancient Taino sites from further ruin. Scientists race on, charting the trench, simulating wave paths, and probing stress flows along faults. Each breakthrough offers hope, but underscores the dread. Prolonged quiet, means mounting power underfoot. The trench whispers silence for now. But in this land of vibrant Baricua spirit, silence has never equaled security. One day it'll fracture, and the ocean will rage anew. So, ponder this. If the earth stirred tomorrow, would your loved ones know the drill? Drop your thoughts below. What if the Atlantic's mightiest quake is overdue, or just the planet's deep breath before a thunderous bellow? And to dive deeper into Earth's wild transformations, subscribe and ride with us as we unearth the forces remolding our world.